So, briefly overlooking my lack of an intro, what is this week's word of the week? What's this week's word of the week? Hello, and welcome to another interesting word of the week. This week we will be fighting with the letter J, which is a very difficult letter to fight. Let's just randomly select a page, shall we? Let's go for that one. And oh my god, it's got J's on. Jesus, anyone would think I pre-selected the word and already had the book on the page. Blimey. This week's interesting word is juxtapose. Juxtapose means to place close together or side by side. So what could you compose side by side? A lot of things could be composed side by side, I suppose. You could compare this to all of the other videos, which are a hell of a lot better. Like a before and after picture. You could show, through juxtaposition, how something is improved by placing it next to itself. But later on in the future, to show how much more beautiful it is as opposed to how ugly it used to be. So when you're always dry on ideas for what to do for a video and what to put in it, you always look in a thesaurus. Now actually the thesaurus doesn't have juxtapose, but it has juxtaposition, which is basically the act of putting it next to each other. So other words for juxtaposition are proximity, adjacency, closeness. What is a thesaurus as a section with just putting a word with ness on the end? Every single one of these has it. Contact, continuity, nearness, again with the ness, propinquity, that's said wrong. Cut that one out. Cut it out. Cut it out. Don't make me come over there. And vicinity. If any of you have done some form of GCSE English or media where you have to analyse something, you will understand that there is a slightest little layer of making it up. Like a Shih Tzu, minus the shoe, is kind of, you have to bull that. Bull that. Juxtaposition is a really good term to use when it comes to analysing something for English. You can analyse how a story's been told. You can analyse it, say, from beginning to end. You could analyse it like that. You could say, the juxtaposition of this stanza before this stanza shows this. You'd obviously have to bull Shih Tzu without the shoe to get your way through it. There's always over-analysis over what kind of things mean. You can honestly prove to me if an author meant to do what your English teacher is telling you that they are doing, they meant to do that. If you can honestly prove it to me, I will give you a medal. Just a medal. Random. Here's a medal, fine, you can have it. I was told to give a reason why Shakespeare had placed a character on the stage higher up than the other characters. The other characters on the bottom, it's Othello, the opening scene. The other characters at the bottom were waking this guy up to tell him some important news. So he was just in bed. So obviously I said, being a logical, mathematical kind of guy, I said, well, he's just been in bed, so it will be logical that most bedrooms are on the top floor. So Shakespeare knew this and thought, wait, it'll be a bit weird if he had a bedroom on the bottom floor, because that's a bit strange. No one does that. That's not socially acceptable. But actually, what she thought it meant, he was showing that he was more powerful. If you can prove to me that when Shakespeare wrote this play, he thought, well, actually, I'm going to place him on the top of the stage because that would easily show that he is more powerful than all of the other people, let alone the fact that most bedrooms are on the top floor. That would just be like a happy coincidence, because that's actually what I want in my life. I mean, really? Really? Is that why he did it? Are you telling me that there has never been an author in the world who just wrote a story as opposed to some metaphorical meaning that has to be passed across? So infuriating. You can use juxtaposition to show how an author has written something in order or in the opposite order or vice versa to prove something. You could use it with short phrases as well. You could say, this was explained before this because of this and this and this. You've got to obviously bull Shih Tzu without the shoe to get your point across, but it will get you high marks if you use the phrase juxtaposition, because it sounds like you know what you're doing. It sounds like you are a very professional bull Shih Tzu without the shoe. And check what Urban Dictionary says for juxtapose or juxtaposition, because juxtaposition is obviously the act of putting two things together, and juxtapose is putting two things together, or something along those lines. I'm not entirely sure. Let's move on with our lives. So Urban Dictionary, there are two things. The first is quite logical, and the other makes no sense whatsoever. The first is the comparing of two objects set side by side for examination. So that's their explanation, but someone else thought they'd pipe up and give what they think juxtapose means. And I'm going to get my laptop and I'm going to read it off the screen so I don't make any mistakes. And this is what they say. Are you ready for this? Crazy word that a drunk Swiss gynecologist came up with to he could have bragging rights over his fellow professional soda sharers. Does that have anything to do with juxtaposition or juxtaposing? It doesn't, does it? I didn't think so. And his example is Bo Shizzle. And it is, with everything said and done, we have to wrap this up. You can see last week's video by clicking in the top left hand corner. And you can see next week's video by clicking in the top right hand corner if I've already recorded it. Elsewise, you can click in the outro and see everything that I do, which includes music videos, interesting word of the week, and normal vlogs. And you can even subscribe, follow my Twitter, or follow my Tumblr, which I don't use that often, or my Twitter, really. But it has to begin with a T. I only go on social networking sites that begin with T. I think that's everything, so I will catch you later. Welcome to another interesting word of the week. We will be getting down with the letter I's this week, so I think it's time to... So the reason I'm making this video is because this came. This package.